Horsey Gap is a beautiful stretch of beach located in Norfolk in the United Kingdom. It is an area where grey seals come to breed and give birth between November and February every year. The UK homes around 40% of the world's grey seal population, and the numbers are growing every year. This year at Horsey there is over 1,000 newborns recorded, and 2 of them have now become worldwide celebrities. I was filming the seals on the 28th of November 2015, hoping to get some footage of the newborn seal pups, when I was told that something special had just happened. It wasn't known at the time just how special this was, but twins had just been born close to where I was standing in the dunes. I knew that twin seals was rare, but what I didn't realise at the time was I was filming the first ever recorded grey seal twins to be born wild in the world. They were twin brother and sister and was named R2D2 and C3PO. R2 was the young male which was close to the mother in this scene, and C3PO was the sister who was alone at the back of the picture. I stayed with the pups for about 3 hours documenting their behaviour, which was a very special and emotional moment. Initially the mother looked confused and kept looking at them both, trying to work out what she should do. It is well known in the wild that only the strong survive, and it initially looked like she was only going to look after R2 and abandon C3PO to ensure that one of them survived. I couldn't help thinking about this whilst I watched C3PO on her own, which was really emotional to watch. You can see the afterbirth on the beach, which was later used and sent to the Institute of Marine Research in Norway. It was the DNA samples from the twins and this blood which confirmed that they were definitely twins, and this was a world first. I kept on watching in anticipation, hoping that they would come together and she would look after them both. But you can see here with R2 getting more confident and trying to get to C3PO, but the mother kept on blocking its path and getting in the way, trying to keep them both apart. This happened for quite some time and it was really emotional to watch, but eventually she gave in and then started looking after them both. This was a very bold move, but I was so pleased to see it. The seal pups would normally suckle for around 3 weeks, and with their milk being 60% fat, they would put on about 2 kilograms a day in weight. After 10 days of suckling both pups, she ran out of milk, and after 24 hours of no feeding, the friends of Horsey seals made the decision to take them to the RSPCA in East Winch. The RSPCA later said that they were both a good weight and that may have survived anyway, but this couldn't have been known at the time. The mother had made the right decision to look after them both, and she had done a really great job. After 3 months of care at the RSPCA in East Winch, it was time for R2D2 and C3PO to come back home to Horsey. The wardens of the Friends of Horsey Seals and the RSPCA had worked so hard together to make this magical day happen. It has been a long journey for the twins travelling from East Winch back to Horsey, and now the RSPCA staff are carefully transporting the twins over to the tractor, which will be their last ride they'll take before they're released back to the wild. The local media was there to capture this special moment, as this was a proud day for all the people in Norfolk who had been following this story. Some of them had been lucky enough to come and see them firsthand. This could be the first time that the twins have even seen the ocean, after spending their first 10 days up in the dunes, and then the following 3 months at the RSPCA in East Winch. This is one of the reasons why the general public wasn't informed of the release date. It had been a long journey getting the twins here, and it wasn't known how they were going to react once they entered the ocean for the first time. Although they had spent a lot of time swimming at the RSPCA, this was very different to being in a swimming pool. The majority of the crowd you see here are volunteers and wardens from the Friends of Horsey Seals. Their aim is to protect the grey seal population from the public and to increase knowledge and understanding so the public can watch them safely without disturbing the breeding season. A few years ago this was a very quiet beach, and now the number of visitors is dramatically rising every year. The number of visitors has gone up over this last year from 60 to 84,000, which is making it more difficult for the Friends of Horsey Seal wardens. With changes in government funding priorities, the Friends of Horsey Seal mainly rely on their local volunteers and from donations and memberships which can be obtained through their website. I hope this film inspires more people to help and join with the Friends of Horsey Seals so we can protect and preserve this incredible event which we are very fortunate to have with us in Norfolk. The time has now come, after all this hard work from many dedicated people, for R2D2 and C3PO to be released back to the wild. The staff of the RSPCA in East Winch and the Friends of Horsey Seal had done all of Norfolk proud. C3PO is the closest to the camera. She comes straight out of her box, but they both hesitate at the size of the ocean. R2, being the more confident of the twins, tries to encourage his sister to head out to sea. But she is a bit more hesitant than he is and initially turns back, while R2 heads straight out to the ocean. But her instincts are telling her to follow R2, but she is initially overwhelmed by the power of the surf. We all looked on with anticipation, knowing that as soon as she could get past those breaking waves on the shoreline, she would be alright. She found it difficult to get past these breaking waves, but her instincts kept driving her to keep trying. You can see R2 in the background, swimming and happily looking around, waiting for his sister to come and join him, although it is known that they will likely separate and go their own way. There was a great sense of pride and relief for all when C3PO finally gets past those breaking waves and looks happy to be swimming in the ocean. All that effort and hard work had been rewarded by seeing R2D2 and C3PO back home where they belong. This wasn't just a proud moment for everybody watching, or just for the people of Norfolk. It was a proud moment for all nature lovers around the world who had been following this story since the beginning. It was a shame though that the RSPCA didn't have the funding to be able to track them, which is why they need more support. It would have been nice to be able to track and see the progress of R2 and C3PO, not just to see how they're doing, where they are, but also in future years when they start to have pups themselves. Who knows, maybe they could even have twins. I waited on the beach for hours following them, waiting to see if they came back to shore one last time, but they never did. They were heading up the shore though, towards the main rookery, where hundreds more grey seals were waiting for them.